Hey everyone, welcome to Friday, the 31st of January. Decided to do a fun video today because I have some videos ready for next week, but I want to see if the tariffs actually happen. So a lot of videos I have ready are for if the tariffs actually happen. If you hear a lot of noise outside, it's because for some reason every truck and every train is just going outside my window right now. But we're going to go through a tier list, and I'm going to go through the people who are currently elected in the House, Senate, and as governors, and then go to people who either haven't been elected ever, or people who have been elected in the past or have some sort of position or whatever. If you know of somebody that should be on the list, go ahead and put them below. There might be like one or two blatantly obvious choices that I'm just not thinking about, but go ahead and put them down below. Now, the one thing I want to talk about as far as my rankings on this list, it's based on who I think is electable and how they can be electable. It's not about ideology. Anyone who has been watching this channel for a while now know that I don't have any faith in issues, right? Talking about being the closest to an issue and all that, that literally was from books like this and all that back in the 40s and the 50s. It just doesn't apply anymore. So we're going to go through all the list. I'm going to start with the House, like I said, Senate, governors, and then kind of everyone else. So let's go ahead and go to the list. All right, so we're going to go through the House members first, but let me go ahead and put must. Like must, basically, you must run this person because they absolutely will win. Can win is like, yeah, they have what it takes. They can win. Might win is kind of like, you're kind of rolling the dice. And then you have the probably not. You're like, yeah, they might be good, but they're not going to win the election. And then you have no way. Just don't even consider this person. No way. All right, so we're starting with the House. I only have 2 House members. So the first one I've seen mentioned is Ro Khanna. Now, I am having some problems with my mouse, so it might accidentally go up there, but that's not their final thing. Ro Khanna, I think, is a good speaker. He's articulate. He knows how to say things. He knows the issues well and all that. His biggest problem, he's from California. And anyone from California is going to either be in the probably or no way. But it depends on where in California. Okay, if you're from San Francisco or the Bay Area, no. People like that are not going to win because San Francisco, and I think a lot of this has to do with a lot of people are in their own little bubbles and don't go outside of their bubbles. If you're in the liberal Democratic bubble, the rest of the world hates liberals from San Francisco. I mean, now technically he's from the Bay Area. He's cozy up to Silicon Valley, which I don't know is a really good thing right now to run as a Democrat. So that's that. Now, of course, if I said there's only 2 other members from the House, the next is AOC. And where would I put AOC? She's not a must. She's not a can even. I honestly have to put her in that she might win. And the reason why I think she's great, she's tough, she's articulate, she knows how to speak. She can turn the debate around. She does a really, really good job at a lot of that stuff. Now, the only thing I think is the problem for her is that she said a lot of stuff early in her political career that I think would kill her in a general election. Okay, so the whole defund the police and all that kind of stuff, that would come back to haunt her. Now, we could roll the dice and see if that affects her. I don't know. Sometimes some issues don't affect certain candidates, but for her, I just think some of those things like defund the police, I think anyone that's on record kind of saying that or tweeting that or something like that, they're kind of doomed. But she has other things that make her just as good. Now, let's go to the senators. Now, Raphael Warnock kind of had his, I would say, trial by fire, or is having it right now, as far as the Senate confirmation of Trump's appointees. And he hasn't looked that great. He's a good speaker. He looks like a nice guy and everything. I just don't think he can, and he can run for Senate. I just don't think he has what it takes to run for president, because I think you need to be tough. I just don't see him as tough. So he does come from Georgia, but we no longer live in the days where key state matters. It just doesn't. So I would say Raphael Warnock would probably not. Now, the next person I have on the list, I just have on the list because I see some really stupid people like the Washington Post and others putting this name on the list. And it's John Fetterman. Okay. He won't make it even. I'm putting him in no way. He wouldn't even make it out of a primary at all. I don't know who John Fetterman is appealing to now. He's somebody, if anyone is going to take away a lot of Democratic votes, I think Fetterman would be that candidate. So, yeah, as the general election candidate, I think Fetterman would be horrible. Again, yes, he's from Pennsylvania. Who cares? Key states don't matter anymore. Next one is newly elected Ruben Gallego, and he's kind of in the same situation that Barack Obama was back in 2004 when he got elected. He got elected in 2004, then had 4 years as senator and ran for president. And Gallego, from Evergreen Park, so I already love him. My family used to live in Evergreen Park. So he's from Chicago. So he acts like a Midwesterner. He acts like somebody from Chicago, to be honest. And of course, that's going to appeal to me. He's Hispanic, but he's like, hey, quit with the Latinx talk. That's ridiculous. He knows how to fight. If you're going to go with the key state thing, he's from a key state. So I say he is definitely in the can win column. Gallego could win the presidency. I'm not going to put him in the must. I think that's for like certain people. I'm not going to put him in the must, but he is one that the Democrats really, really should be considering. Now, Cory Booker. I like Cory Booker. I think he is a really good senator. Same thing, very articulate, knows how to speak, knows how to fight, says what he has to say. There are some political issues that, as I'm not a political issues person, but if those issues hit to your ethics or your character, it kind of hurts. So he had been with the pharmaceutical companies for quite a while. I don't know if he still is. And just that messaging himself, we don't have to talk about the pharmaceuticals or the drug, like specific policy. We could just say he's with the drug companies. That would hurt him. That would hurt him in a Democratic primary. I think he still might win if he was a nominee because he has all the other characteristics that are needed. But, you know, I put him in the might win. This is a senator no one's really talking about that I think could be a dark horse, and that's Brian Schatz of Hawaii. I really like this guy. Again, a fighter, but witty. He's like the mix between being aggressive and mild-mannered, which I think is really, really good. I think that helps you. And so Schatz, I would put he would be a roll the dice candidate. I think he has what it takes to win. Again, he's from Hawaii, not a key state, but he really knows how to speak. He really knows things. He's a sharp thinker. And that's another thing on my list too. If you need to read off a teleprompter, you can't just give a speech off the cuff, then you shouldn't even be on this list to run for president. And we'll get to a few of those people in a few. Elizabeth Warren. Okay. I think over the last few weeks, honestly, over the last few years, Elizabeth Warren has really shown that she's a fighter. Okay. And I know a lot of people say, she might come across as like a, angry old school teacher or something like that. I don't care. She's a fighter. People want fighters. That's what they're looking for. I think she can win as the Democratic candidate. So she knows how to speak. She can look at something and dissect it. AOC is really good with that as well. So was Kamala Harris when she was in the Senate on the Judiciary Committee. She did a really good job. Amy Klobuchar, because other people are talking about her. Me, I put her into probably not. She is like watching her is like watching paint dry. And like, just look at how she acted during the inauguration. It's just like no personality. If you don't have personality, if you don't have charisma, you're not going to be president. Game, set, match. Okay. That's why a lot of people that we hear, we hear people talk about, oh, well, he's a moderate. He's like, don't have charisma. You're not going to win. All right. Now to finish off the senators, of course, you know who's last on this, and that is Bernie, right? I think Bernie has shown over the last few weeks, I mean, he's shown all this over the years, but over the past few weeks, age doesn't matter, right? He is so sharp. He's not like Biden, like, no, he's actually on top of it. Now, is he a must? Like, we must run him? No, I'm still going to put him in the can because he calls himself a socialist, which is not a good thing to run on. Okay. You don't want to As I mentioned in my video about stupid voters, you don't want to educate the voters about what socialism is, because a lot of them are dumb and they just don't know and they don't care and they don't care. They're just going to listen to Fox News say socialism, socialism, socialism. Okay. Um, so I think he can win, but it would be hard. Now let's go ahead and go to the governors. So, um, actually, I have these flipped. So let me go ahead and start with Andy Bashir. Okay, he probably wouldn't win. He's from Kentucky. Everyone's talking about he's from Kentucky and I don't care. Okay, he again, like Amy Klobuchar, it's more exciting to watch paint dry than to watch this guy speak. Okay, he's an okay speaker, no charisma. What's the only thing? He's moderate. You need to have some oomph when you're running for these positions. As I've said in my videos about, or I said in my video about the stupid people who vote, Democrats have to remember this is a popularity contest. It's not a policy debate. So no one cares about this middle. They all care about the policy. Hence the reason Trump's there. It's all about popularity. Okay, next, Josh Shapiro. Now, the thing about Shapiro, I think he has some troubling issues when it comes to Israel and especially education with teachers in charter schools that could hurt him in a primary. Okay. I don't think it would matter in a general election. But now, when it does come to issues, it does matter in primaries, not as much in the general. People just sort into their partisan little lanes and then vote that way. Shapiro knows how to speak. He is charismatic. He has won in a state that's competitive. Okay. And I was very much down on Shapiro. But the thing is he still looks like a canned politician. I'm putting him in the might win. Now, the big test for Shapiro is the midterm elections. If he all of a sudden wins 56 or 57% in Pennsylvania in the midterm election, then we might be able to consider him. Okay. Katie Hobbs is another one that has been floated, actually. Now, I'm going to say she probably wouldn't win. She had a very close race in Arizona. She has good personality and all that, but I just think this is where we get to the point that, yes, maybe people don't know people, but nobody knew who Jimmy Carter was. Nobody knew who Bill Clinton was, and they went on to win the election. So I don't think she's considering it at all. And again, with her, like with Josh Shapiro, it depends on how she does in the midterm. If she wins the gubernatorial race, 55-45 or something like that, then she might be considered a possible, she might move up this list. But I don't know. Another one that has been mentioned is Jared Polis, and I think he is in the no way category, mostly because he had his praise when it came to RFK Jr. Now, there's some things like you can say like AOC, like defund the police, but when you're all of a sudden praising RFK Jr., did I say JFK Jr.? I meant RFK Jr. If you're all of a sudden praising RFK Jr., that's not a good thing. All right, so let's look at Wes Moore. Again, I'll put him probably not. I just don't see what this guy actually has. Okay, he's okay all around. Okay, he's a good gubernatorial candidate. He's not a good presidential. Again, oomph. You need to be able to show some emotion. Now, let's see who else we have. All right, let's talk about Gavin Newsom. All right, no way. No way. No California, no liberal California people. They'll get killed nationwide. That Gavin Newsom, and especially how the fires have been dealt with in California, that would be at least a 55% win for whoever the Republican is. Okay. Yes, Gavin Newsom knows how to yell and scream and fight, but a lot of these candidates do. And like I said, shit, I can do that. I can go up and yell at any candidate. That's not a skill. Okay, that's not charisma. That's another thing, a problem with Democrats. Democrats really don't fundamentally understand how people work. So they think just yelling is, because Trump does it, is charisma or whatever. No, there's this little special to that. And now let's go to the last three governors I have. So let's go with J.B. Pritzker. Okay, I'm putting J.B. in the can win, or I'm putting him in the might win category. All right, let me explain why. He's my governor. He has done a really good job going after Trump, especially these first few days. But what will kill Pritzker? Two things. One, Illinois has the worst state finances by far of any state. Now, they have improved, and he can say they have improved, but they're just going to say, the Republicans going to just say, the state of Illinois has the worst credit rating of any state in the nation. That all of a sudden is a kind of a killer, I think. Okay, the second thing is the state of Illinois, and something I don't like, and I'm a Democrat, has used taxpayer money to put illegal immigrants into hotels. Okay, that was actually a policy. Republicans are going to bring that up. So, yes, he might be able to win if he can really be kind of a pit bull and go against the Republicans that make these other issues kind of like get pushed to the side. That could happen. And I think he might win, but I still don't have him as he would win. Now, let's look at Gretchen Whitmer. She doesn't have these problems. Okay, I think Gretchen Whitmer is somebody who, she speaks well, she's authentic, she has won in a state that the Democrats need to win in. She knows those kind of voters. I wouldn't put her in the must category, but I would put her in the can win category. So I think Gretchen Whitmer definitely is a candidate that, again, we'll see how the next 4 years evolve. She needs to be more in the spotlight. And I think right now, if you do have any intention to run for president and you're not running for another position, right now is not a bad time to announce. All right, and let's go with the last governor I have on this list, and that's, of course, Tim Walz. Now, I'm going to put it Walz in the can win category, though I kind of do that reluctantly because the Democratic Party kind of destroyed him. Okay, if they would have let Tim Walz be Tim Walz, the enthusiastic guy that we know, he, I think, would have helped Kamala Harris. But the consultants got to him, okay? We're going to talk about that with another candidate as well. Once the consultants get to the candidate, they destroy the candidate. That's what they did to Tim Walz. If Tim Walz is able to run the campaign that shows who he is, I think he can win. Now, let's go to those who are former elected officials and just kind of like former people or just people in general. Now, I'm putting Sherrod Brown up here, and I'm calling him putting no way because for some reason, there's always some group of people who say, hey, let's take a guy who just lost and run him for a bigger position. That always happens. It happened in the Florida U.S. Senate race this time around with, against Rick Scott. There's always those kind of people. So I just put this up here because there'll be somebody talking about Sherrod Brown. No, absolutely not. Now we're getting kind of into a little bit different. Let's see who's next. Pete Buttigieg. Okay. I am going to put Pete Buttigieg in the might win category. Now, I would put him in the can win category, but he has one problem, and you already know what I'm going to say probably, but it's not his problem. It is his problem, but it's not his problem. Him being gay will hurt a Democratic candidate, but not because of him. Pete Buttigieg would probably want to go out there and talk about healthcare, the economy, and all that kind of stuff. Remember, I think he's a closet progressive. He wrote like his dissertation on Bernie Sanders, right? So yes, even though he has problems like working for the biggest consulting firm in the United States and other things that would question whether he was truly authentic or whatever, he does know how to speak. He is charismatic. He is witty as hell, is able to turn a conversation on a dime, turn a debate on a dime, have it go the other way, which is something Trump does really good. But he would want to have a pure campaign on the issues. All the Democratic Party would do is say, look, he's an LGBTQ candidate. Vote for him because he's LGBT. Like the Democrats, the white progressives in the party would just totally, the identity politics ones, they would destroy his campaign. Not Pete Buttigieg. He probably would be like, hey, shut up, guys. I'm trying to actually win an election here. Because when he ran back in 2020, and remember how well he did in Iowa and New Hampshire, so that's important too. When in South Carolina, who cares? Democrats are not going to win that state anyway. He did well. I'm afraid the Democratic Party would screw up his campaign like everything the Democratic Party touches and the consultants touch turn to poop. And that's what they would do here. Let's go to Mark Milley. Yes, Mark Milley. I mean, this is like I said, we're going out of the box now. I think he could win. I think he is a can win candidate because he is a military guy. He's a straight shooter. And it's just kind of, and with a lot of those Republican voters, Democrat, people who are former Obama voters that went over to Trump, they're very much white males into discipline. Okay. Joint Chiefs of Staff, that's somebody who's into discipline. So I think he would be able to win a lot of those people over. Now we're going to kind of get into the categories that are like, oh, wow, really? Maybe. Beto O'Rourke. I'm going to put him in might win. Very good speaker, very charismatic, doesn't take anyone's crap. I like how he does things. Now, he has lost twice, but statewide in Texas, and actually does a lot better than almost anybody else in Texas. Had he been running in another state like here in Illinois, or in maybe even in some closer states like Michigan, Wisconsin, or whatever, he might have actually won there. He ran in Texas and did quite well. So he might be a name that we see come up. He's run for the position before. He could win. All right, now here we go. Al Franken. I think Al Franken can win. So people haven't been talking about Al Franken. Al Franken is funny, has the charisma, also knows how to fight. If you see him get into some of these fighting debates, he's actually really, really good at that. He got Me Too torpedoed, and I think he could even use that to his advantage, saying, hey, I hate this identity politics stuff. It cost me, for no good reason, a seat in the Senate. And that would resonate with a lot of people. All right. Hillary Rodham Clinton. No way. I've met her personally back in 1991. She's a great person. You don't want to remind people of why you lost in the past. Okay, so I just don't think she is the candidate to run. But some people are talking about it, so I wanted to bring the name up. I'm going to bring up a name that hasn't been mentioned in quite a while. He is a feisty fighter, and if his dick wasn't in the wrong place, he would be a candidate for, he might have been our president. Eliot Spitzer. I truly believe that we have shown as a country that a tenacious New Yorker who has sexual deviancy problems can win the presidency. Right? So, I mean, Eliot Spitzer, imagine if you had Eliot Spitzer on the debate stage with Donald Trump. Imagine how explosive that would have been. Okay. Unbelievable. So I'm throwing Eliot Spitzer up there because I think he could actually, he could win. He could win. I mean, I almost want to put him in the must, but I'm not. And then our last kind of elected official that I have in this group is Kamala Harris. And Kamala Harris might be able to win. All right. But she'd have to go through a primary process. She kind of was handed the nomination. So I don't know if she necessarily would be the best person, but she did show that she can compete. Okay. But then the question with Kamala Harris's election, I think a lot of people have to ask themselves, is would we have had the same results if we had thrown generic Democrat in there? That's where I think Kamala Harris's problem is. Which with that case, I'm going to move her down to probably not, because we need to do better than we did last time. All right, now, Jon Stewart. I'm putting Jon Stewart in the must category. So he's my first must, right? Jon Stewart. He has the charisma. He's able to, you want to talk about somebody who's able to just change a debate. Okay. He's funny, but yet he's serious. He is empathetic, but yet he can punch someone if that needs to be done. Absolutely. I think he is our first must candidate on this list. Michelle Obama. I'm saying probably not, because the name is there, but I just don't see her as a tough candidate to go against whoever the Republicans put up. She's nice. She knows how to speak. But I think the consultants would absolutely run her campaign and it would go dead in the water. I just don't think this is her field. It's not really Jon Stewart's field, but being in this public spotlight is Jon Stewart's field. So he'd know how to do this. Michelle Obama, not really. Okay, Mark Cuban. I did say he was a must a few months ago, but there are a few reasons why I'm now putting him into the probably not category. First of all, he is a billionaire and has really talked about not really being the greatest of billionaire, like, really there to help the people. When the Republicans have a billionaire right now as president, so it could work. I just wonder how many Democrats would like him. But now this might seem kind of random, but if you want to talk about something that would, I think, kill him in an election, it would be the Haktua Girl meme coin. Because the Haktua Girl meme coin, he was doing an interview, and if you don't know what that is, just Google search it, and just Google search it with Mark Cuban. If you look at Penguin Z0 and maybe some Ordinary Gamers did it, go ahead and look at those. But Mark Cuban basically said he would buy the Haktua Girls meme coin if it came out, which shows just a very poor judgment. Okay. So I think just stupid shit like that would make Mark Cuban not electable. Now, let's go to the next one. Donald Trump has talked about how he wants to run again. Well, we got two people. One, William Jefferson Clinton. Now, I am going to put Bill in the can win category because I think Bill Clinton could do quite well. The only thing is, like Joe Biden, he's kind of missing a step. And I don't know if people would notice. If he wasn't missing a step, then I would put him in the must. But it just seems like he's a little bit slower. He's not on it like Bernie Sanders, right? But he's a former president. People like him. He could win. I forgot to put Joe Biden on here, but he would be in the no way category for me. But finally, the best candidate that the Democrats could run if Trump wants to run for a third term, Barack Obama. He's definitely a must. If it's all of a sudden Trump versus Obama, I believe, would absolutely destroy him. Okay? And you all know the reasons why. You all know what Barack Obama brings to the table. And I think he would be an awesome candidate for this position. And this is why a lot of Democrats are like, no, we shouldn't change the Constitution to have Trump run again. I'm like, yes, change it, because we can have Barack back. We got Barry back on the ballot, or Bill Clinton. Okay, so we have options there too. Okay, George W. Bush not going to run again. He's the only other living Republican right now. Okay, we can put Barack Obama on there. That would be great. So there it is. This is, I think, if they do change the Constitution, which again, please change the Constitution so we can run Barack Obama. Obama, Stewart, 28. That ticket would win. But if it's not him, I think Jon Stewart is the best one. Would Jon Stewart do it? I don't know. All right, so that's my tier list for today. Thank you all very much for joining me. Thought we'd have a little fun today. I will talk to you in the next video, taking a break for the weekend, and I'll see you on Monday. Bye-bye.